Update. Parents are angry I-26 male want to do adoption instead of keeping the baby. Original story. I didn't know about this until recently. I broke up with my witch of an ex-girlfriend after she violated me in my sleep. I was a virgin before she took that away from me, all because she wanted to be my first. I completely blocked her off from my life, until found out from her sister that she overdosed and passed away. And had a 9-month-old son that's mine apparently. We did do a DNA test, and because that's the only time there was ever anything intimate between us, that means he's a product of what happened to me. Her sister can't keep him, so right now working on having one of their cousins adopt him. My parents have been against this since they don't feel it's right, that I'm his father and he should be with me. Since the night it happened, they knew what she did to me. My dad was supportive. It took my mom time to realize how messed up what my ex did to me is. They just feel it's a different story now that there's a baby involved. My mom suggested maybe they could take him, and once I spent more time with him, I could bond and change my mind. The thing is, I have. And all I feel when I'm with him is I want to leave and not to have to hear or see him. There's no way I could live with knowing how close he is. I've already told my parents that would be the last time they ever see me if they really decide they want custody of him instead. Everyone seems to have a problem with this now. Mom thinks I'm being too heartless on my own child, then gets even more bothered when I tell her that's not my child. It seems it's causing a huge rift now. It seems that if I give the kid up, family will hate me, or I have to stop contact because I don't want that reminder in my family life. Is there any way around this, or will it always be a lose-lose situation? Edit. And before anyone else says anything about getting therapy for this, it didn't work out. Lost count of how many I saw until I stuck with a couple I had a good connection with. It still didn't work, and these were all that specialized in type of trauma. Now for the advice before reading the update. You were violated. You should not be forced to keep or be emotionally attached to the child produced from that situation. The child is innocent, of course, but if you already feel detached enough to want to seek adoption, then keeping him will only foster resentment, and that's not good for either of you. This. I agree with everything you're saying. Adoption is the best option and the baby is innocent. I disagree with calling him the offender's child, because that would be incredibly hurtful for him growing up. For OP's sake, adoption is 100% the best thing for him to do, so he's not resentful towards an innocent baby, and because he 100,000% owes himself his mental health after being violated. Adoption is the best option for this baby. Have you had counseling for what happened to you? You should. I'm so sorry you have to go through this unbelievable, shocking discovery. Yeah, I've done that in the past with different therapists. I don't know, for some reason it just hasn't worked out. Don't know if that means it's not for me or what, because I found some good ones that I actually was really comfortable with. It might just be the wrong time for you to process this. You may feel ready for it in the future. For now, focus on moving forward with your life and goals. Go forward with the adoption, and if your parents have an issue, realize that it's their problem, not yours. The cousins sound like a really good option, and maybe they would be open to your parents occasionally visiting as relatives rather than actual grandparents. If you're discussing this with them and they are being stubborn, remind them that you are their child, and therefore they need to be supportive of the option that's healthiest for you. I've been in a similar situation. I was 16 at the time and he was in his early 20s when it happened. I ended up getting pregnant and my whole family was angry I was going to be a teen mom. Then I decided to put the baby up for adoption, and suddenly I was a horrible mother and all these other awful things. But honestly, I do not regret my choice to give the child up to a family that would love it more than I was able to at the time, or possibly ever. The only real advice I can give you is to listen to your gut. Don't let your parents or any other family members influence your choice. It is your decision. If you ever want to speak to someone who's been in a similar situation, feel free to DM me. Other than that, good luck, sir. I'm sorry for what you had to go through. It's really not fair. Like, no matter what you decide, it's the wrong choice for either them or you. Thanks for sharing, by the way. Haven't heard from other people who dealt with the same here, so I really appreciate it a lot. And now for the update. I was going back and forth if I should make an update on my post or not. Then I thought, what the heck? Didn't expect so much support, especially to everyone who sends me lovely DMs, and others have shared some personal stuff with. It helped get me through an emotional draining time, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. It was a process, but the baby is now living with the cousins that I mentioned in my original post, and they seemed very happy. Just wish them good luck. There's still a few stuffs we gotta iron out, but it's with them now in their home state. My mom didn't want to talk to me for 3 weeks because she couldn't believe I gave him up, that he was her grandson. Then she wanted to reach out. Only this time I was the one who didn't want to talk to her. A lot of angry feelings, but my dad convinced me to at least have a sit down with them. We had a much deeper talk about what happened. They heard everything that I needed to say to them, especially about their lack of support for me. The fact that they wanted me to raise a baby born from my situation would have made me feel so revolted. My mom was crying when I was telling them everything, and she told me how sorry she was for not thinking about how much this was hurting me. Pretty much admitted they got so caught up in the idea of a grandchild. They promised they understood now how I feel about the baby and they'll never try to bring it up again or find out where he is, since I never told them which state the cousins lived. Part of me wants to believe them, but another part is still skeptical. We're taking things one step at a time. Not letting them into my life again completely, but still having open communication. One thing is for sure, I'm glad things worked out with her cousins and I feel so much lighter now than before. Been a tough few months. If you ever need someone to talk to about adoption stuff, please feel free to send me a DM. I gave my child to a loving and wonderful family about 10 years ago, and even still, it's rough for me. So I have an open ear if you need one. I did the same 8.5 years ago. We, my now husband is the birth father, have an open adoption and are involved in the child's life and close with their parents. We also do advocacy work for the adoption agency we used. If you or OP ever need to talk, I'm an open book. Edited to add, our parents were extremely angry and unsupportive at the time of the adoption. We were the same age as OP. Things have gotten better, but there are still some raw feelings about us having taken away their ability to be grandparents. You should give the cousins your medical records, by the way, in case some health issues come later on. Yeah, they asked me about that, so I managed to get a copy. Pretty much admitted they got so caught up in the idea of a grandchild. They promised they understood now how I feel about the baby and they'll never try to bring it up again or find out where he is. Sorry, child. We were just so caught up in how great your ordeal was for us that we never stopped to think about how being violated might have affected you. Like, even if they are being sincere, which I'd put money down that your mom has 100% already hired someone to find their grandbaby, is an apology and promise to improve really enough for how they acted? Maybe I'm petty, but I'd bar them from ever being grandparents for something this callous. Even if/when you decided to have and keep a child, anything less and I'd be worried they would just start overstepping again. Yeah, I see what you mean. That's why part of me is still keeping distance from them. Not like they'd have legal rights to the kid anyways if they actually managed to find where he is. Next story. My 27 female family are pressuring me to talk to my sister 30 female, who I cut off after she helped my awful ex with his custody case. I have 3 kids. I had a first at 16, the second at 20, and I'm currently 6 months pregnant. When I went to university at 18, my oldest stayed with my ex-stepmother as I couldn't afford to take her with me. At university, I entered into a relationship that quickly became physically, emotionally, and financially abusive. I got pregnant. I ran to my ex-stepmother's house, and from there I dropped out, had the baby, and applied to a brand new university in a town 3 hours away, where I moved with both my kids, my ex-stepmother, and my brothers. My ex never even knew I was pregnant when I left him. My family knew who the father was. I was scared they would tell him, so I was completely honest, spelling out exactly how bad the mistreatment was, and how scared I was for our kid. My family agreed it was for the best if my ex didn't know. I've spent years being incredibly careful about my online presence, my connections to my ex, and whatever else I could think of that could possibly link my ex to me. Then 3+ years ago, I was contacted by an official, asking me to bring my son in for a DNA test for my ex. I then contacted my ex and he told me he knew about our son and was going to apply for custody. This was a worst case scenario, as 50-50 is the automatic split in my country, unless I could get him deemed unfit, but I had no solid proof of the mistreatment. Ex made me out to be a psycho who kidnapped his kid, using information that he should not have known about to make me look unstable. And it was only thanks to him threatening me in front of the legal team that I won. If not for that outburst, he would have gotten 50-50, or even majority, as I was living a few hours from him and he had been up to that point successfully painting me as an unstable kidnapper. It was only several weeks later when I commented to my sister that I don't know how he even found out about my son or the other things he should not have known about, that she said she told him. Her reasoning? My son should know his father and he should be treated as innocent until proven guilty. I have not spoken to her since. She has apologized both directly and through other people after I blocked her. But in the 2 years since then, I've gotten engaged and I'm pregnant again, and my sister is distraught at the knowledge that she won't be involved with my new baby or wedding. My remaining family, aunts, uncles, cousins, ex-stepmother, siblings, are trying to get me to get back in touch, saying enough time has passed for me to accept an apology and move on. While most of them are careful not to pressure me, saying the choice is mine but this is their opinion, the rest are saying that I have to contact her, and are even saying they'll cut me off unless I reach out to my sister. How do I make clear that I will not listen to any more of this, and firmly state and enforce my boundaries regarding my sister, without pushing my remaining family away in the process? Now for the top advice. Tell them you'll never forgive her, and if they pursue the matter, you'll have to go to other lengths not to talk to them. Exactly. She put you and your family in danger. She doesn't deserve a relationship. Agree with us. Take them up on their offer and cut them off. They can't push judgment on you when your child could have gone to an awful person. It was not your sister's place to inform anyone of anything. She definitely overstepped, and I understand your anger for sure. If it were me, I would never be in touch with her again. No amount of time spent between what happened and now would be sufficient enough. Remind her that you were in danger. Your child was in danger, and she actively helped your ex mistreat you again. Hell, who knows what he'll do to your child now? Keep that rope cut. Don't let her anywhere near you or your new child. She has shown her true colors, and you have made it perfectly clear that she is not welcome in your life. Hell, if the rest of your family is siding with her, cut them off as well. If they condone what she did, they're just as bad and you just never saw it before. You need a fresh start without the troubles and the stress of the past. You have to think about your new family now, and who that will consist of. Is it better to have a deep resentment and no trust with the family you were born into, or is it better to have trust, love, and understanding from the family you make? I'm in complete agreement. If not for his outburst, my child would be living hours away from me right now with an awful person. I'm happy to have gotten the restraining order, but even that was only temporary and I've not been able to reapply. They aren't entirely siding with her, and I don't want to cut any more of them off if I can help it. They just want me to be more open. I'm guessing your sister won't shut up about it, and they're just trying to get the whining to stop. I doubt they really believe she's entitled to a second chance. She's just getting on their nerves, and the fastest way to make her drop it is to get you to reestablish contact. Last story is titled, My Brother and Mom Call Me Petty for Not Getting Over Something That Happened 2 years ago. I'm 25 female dating my boyfriend 25 male for the past 3 years, and I absolutely adore him and see a future with him. Before I got with my boyfriend, I had a guy BFF 25 male who we were very close with. Sometimes our actions would be misunderstood and everyone would think we're a couple. I didn't like being called a couple, but my BFF seemed to enjoy it. Anyway, after I got with my boyfriend, I made sure to set boundaries with my BFF, which included no more cuddling, no back massages, no sleepovers, or nights out being wasted. I wouldn't like my boyfriend doing that to me, so it was only reasonable for me to make sure my boyfriend feels secure. My BFF seemed to understand the boundaries at first, but after that he started acting like those boundaries didn't exist and did what he did before. I told him multiple times to stop, but he wouldn't listen. He made my boyfriend uncomfortable on purpose on multiple occasions, and it also embarrassed him publicly to get a reaction out of him. And I had enough of his actions, so I made it clear to him that we're done. The last straw which led me to do this was when we were out with some of my boyfriend's friends. My BFF was there too, and he introduced himself as my original boyfriend and my main love. I never dated him, but I never loved him as anything more than a friend. So when he said that, I was taken aback. Everyone, including me, my boyfriend's friends, and my boyfriend, felt very uncomfortable. In order to avoid starting drama at that moment, we all tried to enjoy the night. And the next day I met with my BFF and told him we were done. He never apologized for his actions. He even claimed my boyfriend is jealous. And it's not his fault, he's insecure. When I told him I had an issue with what he did as well, he just said, okay, fine, bye. No remorse for what he did. I met him on some friend outings from time to time. I'd typically say hi, but I refused to engage in conversation. Recently, my brother got a text from him asking to hang out, and I was shocked because they barely knew each other. My brother started hanging out with him despite me telling him I'd find it disrespectful if he hanged out with a guy who he barely knew. I'd also tried to cause drama in my relationship, but my brother won't. He has been hanging out with him since, and I don't like it, but I don't really speak on it. I ignore it. Yesterday, my mom asked me why I'm still not talking to ex-BFF, and I said because he never apologized for what he did. She says that I need to get over it and stop being petty because he'll be visiting our house a lot now, since he and my brother arranged to play PS5 every Sunday in our home. I said no way will I ever be okay with that. She and my brother insist I'm being petty and immature. I don't know what the right thing to do is at this point. Is there a way to move on? Why is your family so involved in this kind of drama? You're 25. Seriously, everyone in the story is an immature child. Except for the boyfriend, of course. He may be pissed off, but he's letting his girlfriend deal with her own mess herself. Amazingly patient dude. You're not petty. Ignore him if he's in your house or not. I would make plans not to home on Sundays from now on. He has been in love with you and you called it friendship. You're doing him a favor not engaging with him. You don't feel the same way, and he needs to move on. What is with your mom and brother? Nope, not petty at all. Your feelings are valid. He well overstepped the mark, like literally leapt over your boundaries. It made you and your partner uncomfortable. He seems to think he has some weird right to you over your boyfriend. If he was a dog, he'd probably pee on your leg. You can't decide who your brother gets to be friends with, even though in my opinion it's a prick move, but they also don't get to decide how you feel about it. I guess he's going to be around more, but you don't have to engage with him any more than you choose to.